Today we are going to discuss The Old Man and the Sea, and it is a short novel written by the American author Ernest Hemingway. And it was written when Ernest Hemingway was visiting the country which lies in close proximity to the United States, and that small country is Cuba. And Ernest Hemingway visited Cuba, and he had interaction with Cuban fishermen. He was inspired by their lives, and that is how he was ignited to write a novel about their lives and Cuban culture. And this is how he was inspired to write this novel somewhere around 1951, and it was published in 1952. So the date of publication is 1900 and the year of publication is 1952. It was the last major work of fiction by Hemingway that was published during his lifetime. So it is considered as the last publication of Ernest Hemingway. One of his most famous works, it tells the story of Santiago, an aging Cuban fisherman who struggles with a giant marlin far out in the Gulf Stream of the coast of Cuba. So the principal character, the protagonist, or we can say the hero of this novel is Santiago, an aging Cuban fisherman. In 1953, The Old Man and the Sea was awarded Pulitzer Prize for fiction. Pulitzer Prize is the highest prize given for literary work in United States, and it was cited by Nobel Committee as contributing to their awarding of the Nobel Prize in literature to Hemingway in 1954. And in 1954, Ernest Hemingway was awarded with Nobel Prize for this work, The Old Man and the Sea. Now we move on to the plot summary of Old Man and the Sea. The Old Man and the Sea tells the story of a battle between an aging, experienced fisherman, Santiago, and a large marlin. Marlin is a kind of a fish. It is a species of fish. The story opens with Santiago having gone 84 days without catching a fish, and now being seen as Salao, the worst form of unluckiness. So he is considered as unlucky because he has not captured any fish for the last 84 days. And in the Cuban language, which is inspired by the Spanish, he was called, or people mocked him as Salao, Salao, Salao. He is so unlucky that his young apprentice Manolin has been forbidden by his parents to sail with him, and he has been told instead to fish with successful fishermen. So his apprentice and a young boy named Manolin has left him because he was forced to do so by his own parents, who wanted him to fish with another fishermen who were successful. And Santiago was heavily unsuccessful in his ventures. The boy visits Santiago's shack each night, hauling his fishing gear, preparing food, talking about American baseball and his favorite player, Joe DiMaggio. Santiago tells Manolin that on the next day he will venture far out into the Gulf Stream north of Cuba in the states of Florida to fish, confident that his unlucky streak is near its end. So, Santiago and Manolin had good friendship between them, though they had a vast difference in their ages. They talked about many things, and American baseball in particular, and the favorite player of Santiago was Joe DiMaggio. And Santiago tells Manolin that he will fish in deep oceans, and his unluckiness is nearing its end. On the 85th day of his unlucky streak, Santiago takes his skiff into the Gulf Stream, sets his lines by the noon, and has his bait taken by a big fish that he is sure is a marlin. So he is ultimately successful on the 85th day. Unable to haul in the great marlin, Santiago is instead pulled by the marlin, and 2 days and nights pass with Santiago holding onto the line. So he is unable to pull the fish into his boat. Though wounded by the struggle and in pain, Santiago expresses a compassionate affection for his adversary, often referring to him as a brother. So, Santiago calls Marlin as his brother because both of them were suffering, though both were adversaries. He also determines that because of the fish's great dignity, no one shall deserve to eat Marlin. On the third day, the fish begins to circle the skiff. Santiago, worn out and almost delirious, uses all his remaining strength to pull the fish onto his side and stab the marlin with a harpoon. Santiago straps the marlin to the side of his skiff and heads home, thinking about the high price that fish will bring him at the market and how many people will be fed by him. So, he is thinking about all those things, but he is unable to maul the fish because it was a giant fish and he could not pull the fish into his boat. So, the fish was not under his complete control. On his way into the shore, sharks are attracted to by the marlin's blood. Santiago kills a great mako shark with his harpoon, but he loses the weapon. He makes a new harpoon by strapping his knife to the end of an oar to help ward off the next line of sharks. So, he stabs the big fish in order to control it, that is marlin, but unfortunately for him, sharks are attracted by the blood of the marlin and they attack. Santiago loses his harpoon, his only weapon, but he uses his knife and he ties it to the oar of the boat to make a new weapon, and he kills a few sharks. These sharks are known as mako sharks with his weapon, but these sharks actually feed upon the fish captured by Santiago, that is marlin. Five sharks are slain and many others are driven away. But the sharks keep coming, and by the nightfall, the sharks have almost devoured the marlin's entire carcass, leaving a skeleton consisting mostly of its backbone, its tail, and its head. So, nothing is left of the big fish marlin which Santiago has captured. The only thing left is the carcass of the dead fish, which mostly consists of its backbone. Santiago knows that he is defeated and tells the sharks how they have killed his dreams. Upon reaching the shore before dawn on the next day, Santiago struggles to his shack. So, his dreams are shattered. He could not bring home the entire marlin, only a carcass of it was left, and a carcass could not be sold into the market. So, Santiago comes home in a sad state of mind. Upon reaching the shore before the dawn on the next day, Santiago struggles to his shack because he is heavily tired, carrying the heavy mast on his shoulder, leaving the fish head and the bones on the shore. Once home, he slumps onto his bed and falls into a deep sleep. So, we can assume that Santiago is tired, injured, he is in a delirious state of mind, and he is unhappy also because he could not bring home the entire fish. A group of fishermen gathered next day around the boat where fish skeleton is still attached. One of the fishermen measures it to be 18 feet from nose to tail. 18 feet is almost 5.5 meters. So we can understand that the fish was very big in size, very large in size. Tourists at the nearby cafe mistakenly take it for a shark. The boy, and we understand the name of the boy is Manolin, worried about the old man, and the old man is Santiago, cries upon finding him safe asleep and his injured hands. Manolin brings him newspapers and coffee. So, Manolin ultimately brings him some food with morning newspaper, where the old man wakes and they promise to fish together once again. Upon his return to sleep, Santiago dreams of his youth, of lions on an African beach. So, the story, the plot is clear before us, and we will continue discussing Old Man and the Sea, its characters, its theme in our forthcoming videos. Thanks for watching.